You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Okay, welcome to the Village of Wapner Falls monthly regular meeting of the mayor and the board of trustees. Today's Wednesday, July 9th. Can you please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We have special announcements tonight. We'd like to start off with the one recognizing Mr. Christopher Morris for his efforts in volunteerism.
Come on up, Chris. Letter of appreciation, Christopher Morris. Whereas Christopher Morris has demonstrated exceptional dedication and initiative by volunteering his time to paint the boathouse and alongside his father repair the gazebo in Revere Park. And whereas his efforts have greatly enhanced the beauty and upkeep of one of the village's most treasured public spaces. And whereas Christopher's actions reflect a strong sense of civic pride and a deep commitment to the well-being of our community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby recognizes and commends Christopher Morris for going above and beyond in service to Wappingers Falls and for setting a positive example for community spirit and volunteerism. Presented by Mayor Hoover and the Mayor of the Board of Trustees. Today, July 9th. Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody on the board. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, we have yet another Morris we want to recognize tonight. Certificate of Recognition, Thomas Morris, Wappingers Falls Planning Board Chair, wins prestigious statewide planning award. The New York Planning Federation has honored Thomas Morris, Chair of the Village of Wappingers Falls Planning Board, with the 2025 John O. Cross Award for Outstanding Planning Board Chairperson. Mr. Morris has served on the Village Planning Board for 40 years, including 22 years as chair. Under his leadership, the board has reviewed more than 200 development applications that have contributed significantly to the revitalization and long-term sustainability for the village. Mr. Morris is known for ensuring that planning board members are well informed and prepared while maintaining the integrity of the board's deliberative process. His leadership has inspired several colleagues to pursue additional roles in public service, including as village mayor and trustees and clerk. Mr. Morris' dedications extends beyond land use review. He has played a central role in advancing the village's environmental initiatives, including chairing the electric vehicle charging program. In 2023, Mr. Morris also led the update of the village comprehensive plan and zoning law. Mr. Morris dedicated his service and voluntary guidance have created a legacy in the village of Wappingers Falls. His contributions exemplify the best of the local planning practice and are deeply valued by the community. State of New York Mayor, Mayor Hoover.
Thank you all, plus. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been a
a lot of fun, a lot of dedication, a lot of my time, but it's well worth it to see how our community is developing and growing. So thank you for the opportunity and the privilege to be able to represent the village on the planning board. So thank you.
Okay, we have some more special recognition for the first responders as a result of the recent Dutchess Avenue structure fire.
If I could, please, if everybody would indulge me, I'd like to elaborate a little bit more on that because it was personally affected me. It was directly across the street from my home. And when I walked out of my door at around 1:15, I couldn't believe the fireball that I was looking at. And I was a police dispatcher, 911 dispatcher for 30 years, and I wrote EMS for 14, so I'm no novice to emergency scenes. And I have to thank Jason Ensign for his unbelievable handling of the scene, as well as all of the firemen, all of the EMS that came out, my neighbors who rushed out pretty much in their pajamas to try to bring water and blankets, and it was really amazing to see this community come together like it did. All the mutual aid. The next morning, Jordan and our fire chief and Jason worked together to get what little possessions these people had out of their house. And to watch it, you hear about it a lot, but I watched it unfold, and I really think that they need a special. It was amazing. So I just want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for their professionalism. Our officer, Scagnelli, who was loving towards the victims yet handled the scene. The state police and the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, everybody that responded just did an amazing job. Our highway, our water, from bottom to the top, they were awesome. So I just want to thank them personally for all of that. It really meant a lot to me. Sorry, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Roll call. Mayor Huber.
Present.
Trustee McCormick.
Present.
Trustee Shimento.
Here.
Trustee Mosh.
Here.
Trustee Marshall.
Here.
Trustee Vanka.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Village Attorney Lindars.
Here.
Action on minutes, regular village board meeting minutes, June 11th.
Can we get a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Special village board meeting minutes, June 19th.
Can we get a motion?
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Special village board meeting minutes, June 30th.
Get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Regular session, authorization to pay bills as per approved warrants.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
Is there a second?
Wait a minute, are you doing all of them or are you removing one of them?
I would like to, actually, there's two that I'm not going to approve because they are not budgeted for. They don't have a budget line anymore, and that's two for the American Legion. We have to figure out where we're going to pay it
Okay.
because there's a zero balance on the American Legion.
Those are from last month. Since we owe last month, we have to pay it.
I'm not saying we shouldn't pay it, Bobby. I'm saying we don't have a line item to pay it from. We have to figure out where it's going to come from.
Okay,
We don't have any money in that account, so.
okay. As finance, I will take care of that.
I have a motion by trustee Marshall with the exception of two
Bills.
vouchers.
Is there a second?
Yeah, oh, there's one more for,
Exterminator.
exterminator for, Brenda Vonberg.
Okay,
I
so
would
there's
like-
three. You have
Yeah,
three.
Three. I would like to speak on this to you. What happened is, we have to take proper legal procedure. And what we did is we sent it twice to his house, and nobody's replying. So now we gotta do one that's certified. So somebody at the house has to sign for it. Because my understanding is they're up in Vermont in a nursing home, both of them. But the son is living in the back. Now, I can't prove it, I can't say it unless you go on the property, and I'm not going on somebody else's property. So what we did is tomorrow morning, Max set up to have a certified letter hand delivered to the house.
How does the McCluskey house got to do with a bill that I have
Well, that's where we went
on my
in.
property because of the rats?
Yeah. Well, one thing is you cannot feed the birds. That'll attract.
I don't, not anymore.
Not anymore.
I miss it.
I know, but you know what? Everybody,
Miss it
we have a
so
woman
much.
up here on Missouri Avenue, she was feeding it.
I know, but I stopped.
Well, she stopped too, but now the rats are a problem, and I can't tell her to put DEET down that would kill the rats because they have grandchildren.
So can we pull those two and that one until we speak to the attorney about the
Yeah.
extermination?
You have to find where the ore is.
This,
All
yeah,
right, so we'll pull those two and
And
speak to the attorney.
speak to the attorney about paying the.
Executive session.
So we're
I'm not gonna
removing.
sue anybody.
no, I just wanted to let you know where we stand because we have to do it legally. And he sent 2 letters, and now we're sending a certified tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So that'll cover us this way and any.
Is there a motion to pay the bills?
A motion to pay the bills, and those 3 we're gonna discuss with the attorney.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I'm a yes with those exceptions.
Pass. Opposed? Passes.
Carried. All right, resolution number 2025 of 2025. Resolution authorizing purchase of a rescue boat for the fire department. Can I have a motion?
So I just have a quick question about that. We budgeted it for $5,000. I know the tariffs increased the price. I know there's 25% tariff. It's coming from Canada. So where do we come up with that? I think it's 3,100.
Can I,
He'd have to probably take it out of his equipment line and.
Equipment line.
well, I would like to table this, no? Can we table it till executive?
Why do we have to table it to executive?
Okay, because I don't know, the other boat rotted. The last time we used the boat was my bass boat, and the guy jumped off in the creek and hit the piling and killed himself. Larry and I pushed him to shore. There was no boat arrived. I mean, we have to take consideration, it's $8,000. We just can't.
Well, you're got cleaning of the lake down there, the weeds are missing down there, there's a lot of kayakers, you got other kayakers going down in the lower creek. This is from the fire chief, and within the next year or two, Dutchess County Airport is gonna be a lot more planes flying over this village, because they're training out there.
Yeah, small planes, yeah.
Yeah, so, and we
So
are
if
in
it's
the
an
direct
extra-
flight path of the Dutchess County Airport, as everybody knows.
So if there's 5,000 budget, do
They need
have-
to find the 3,100 out of equipment
Out of
line or
equipment line,
something
yeah.
else that they can find within their budget.
Now, keep in mind that they're gonna need Scott packs too, so
I understand that, but
is there any way we could?
the
since-
Scott packs, we talked about the Scott packs before.
Yeah,
We
because-
talked about a rotating upgrade.
Yeah,
So
because
it
New
would be
Hamburg-
like a waterfall effect almost. You'd upgrade 2, wait a little bit, upgrade 2, wait a little bit. It's not gonna be all 10 in a year.
Is there,
I don't think there was any schedule for this year anyways.
Here.
is there any way to hold off, because New Hamburg has a boat,
But New Hamburg also services the Hudson River.
Houstonville's got a boat, so, I don't know.
I say the more that we rely on other people, that's less, that's more of a liability, I think, at the end of the day.
Can I give my 2 cents?
Yes,
If we need the boat and we don't have a boat, you know, that puts us in liable too. So I'd rather have the boat, not need the boat, but know that we have the boat. So if you're spending $3,000 extra, they're just gonna have to find it. They've had the boat all these years, they have the motor. What's the sense of having a motor without a boat? I would rather spend the money just in case we need it and have it. That's my opinion.
Let them find the money, that's all.
They gotta find the money.
Every money in his budget.
Well,
They'll have to do
we
with something
need to
else.
confirm that there is money in their budget. If we know there's money in their budget, then you can authorize the purchase. But you can't authorize a purchase if you don't know there's money in the budget.
Well, the budget just started, so there should be money in the budget.
As long as
We
there's a,
need
as
to know where
long
it's
as
gonna
this
come
is, because it's,
I'd like to have a boat as long as they be able to.
Would this boat be used by either fire company in the village?
Yeah, but it'll be up in Johnson's.
It is budgeted.
That's,
Only
that,
5,000.
I would like
Oh,
to
they're
see,
gonna have it in the firehouse.
yeah, I'd like to see it down here since some people get
It
out,
might be easier to get it out, yeah.
you know. That's another question. Where's the boat gonna be stored?
The boat is stored at Station 2. And
Station 1 has access.
Station 1 has access to it when it gets in the water, deployed in the water, because both firehouses respond
Johnson's
together.
It'll be stored at Johnson.
Johnson's Firehouse, yep.
There should be an indication of where the budget is coming. If it's over the budget line that's there, then we need to indicate where the money is coming from. My understanding is that this was a budgeted item and within budget. That's,
Yeah, it's under here,
That's
right here,
different.
it's Marine, 5,000.
so, they may have budget lines, but they have to indicate where those monies are coming
They're
from.
gonna have to do some math and figure out where they want it to come from.
So we're tabling this?
I would,
I would recommend you table it until you identified where the monies are coming from.
yep.
Fire department only has $5,000.
No,
For,
they've
dedicated to the boat itself.
budgeted
The
for
tariffs
that
increased
boat.
the price.
Within that budget line.
It's now up to 8,300, so we have to
What
figure
type
out.
of boat's it gonna be?
Huh?
What type of boat will it
It's a
be?
whaley boat.
Whaley 435R red, it's a high-density polyethylene boat. It's 14 feet 4 inches long, it's 5 foot 8 inches wide, it weighs 433 pounds.
All right, so we'll table it till August 13th.
Yeah.
Lobster's Lake now, I mean, I've been in boats all my life. And the way the lake looks right now with all the seaweed and
You
all
walk
this,
on it.
I mean, you should have a boat that's gonna be, an outboard, not an inboard.
Airboat.
Huh? Airboat?
Airboat, jet boat, something like that.
Unfortunately, the village can't afford
Everything's
one of
specced
them.
out.
Similar to a Zamboni, is what I understand. It's a more rigid Zamboni.
All right, moving along. We'll table that till August 13th.
Resolution number 2125, 2025, resolution authorizing the purchase of trash receptacles for the Village of Wappingers Falls parks.
How much?
We got the price. quoted.
$4,126.62 for 6 receptacles and mounting kits.
That would be
Budgeted.
coming out of, recreation.
That's 4,000 what?
Garbage cans? $4,000.
$4,106.60. They,
Which recreation line?
that would be coming out of the fund.
Restricted?
Because it enhances the parks overall.
We gotta vote specifically to take it out of restricted.
I'd be fine with that vote.
Which I think we're supposed to be doing with the spray foam and the air conditioning too.
Yeah, we gotta make a motion to take it out.
All right, so can we get a
I'll
motion
make the motion.
to take it out of the restricted line?
But you should amend the resolution to include having the money come from the restricted line.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Now there should be a motion on the amended
Can we get a motion on the amended
resolution.
resolution to take it out of the park
Recreation line.
recreation restricted
I'll make that
line?
motion.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 2225, 2025, resolution requesting New York State Department of Transportation to perform a traffic study to determine the feasibility of a crosswalk on West Main Street, approximately 150 feet south of Church Street in the Village of Wappingers Falls.
Can we get a motion?
Yeah, is there any way that we can add to that study the heavy vehicles that are coming through our village?
Oh,
To take a look at that too? Can we amend that
I
resolution?
know Dutchess County Transportation has been looking into that,
can I,
But it's a state road,
state road.
so if they're coming out to look at a crosswalk, maybe they can take into consideration all of the,
This is for the state DOT, for the office.
that's what I'm talking about, state DOT,
Dutchess
because
County Transportation does the study on.
the sidewalk?
They do it on the traffic
They
impact.
do it on the traffic studies.
Okay.
can I say,
So we'll have to get in touch with Dutchess County to do that.
We are in touch with Dutchess County, we've had a few meetings with them.
Okay, good.
They're looking at a truck route.
Okay.
They tried to, they synchronized the red lights on Route 9.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So,
can I say something to add to that? I've been on the phone all day with DOT from Albany all the way down to Carmel, where I got directed. Carmel takes care of the Village of Wappingers. These trucks today that came through, they took an hour to get through the village, blocked the whole street, 2 lanes. It's disgusting. So I got on the phone with DOT, and I've been racing around up until 5 o'clock. The guy called me back. He said, Mr. Marshall, the problem was, and I said, what is the problem? I said, they came up 9D off the bridge. They went to Wells Fargo and made a right and went all the way back down to 84. And I said, why are they doing that? So he went upstairs and checked. He got back to me at 5 o'clock. He said what happened is there was a mistake because Old Red Schoolhouse Road, where 84 crosses over, they had that closed down to any heavy traffic, which it should have not been like that. So he went upstairs and made the amendment to it. So now we're clear. He said you should have no more big trucks coming through because they lifted that on the bridge. So everything should stay on 84 because they had to go around and go all the way back down. So Greg and Lee said, you have any problems, you call me. But he says, as of far today, it's amended. There'll be no more big traffic like that.
All right.
Cal wants to say something.
We'd like to have the we'd like to have public comment at the end.
This came, I went out and did a study myself on this thing here. And we made a law back then that if these tractor trailers or 10-wheelers or anything coming through the village, you know, down one hill up the other, if they didn't have a delivery in the village of Albany Court for May, they should stay on Route 9, not come through the village.
But it's a state road.
That's a law, if you look it up.
Yeah.
That was very fast there.
This was DOT because of they closed down the bridge that went over Red Schoolhouse Lane. They had to come off, come up, and back down that way. Now it's lifted because it was never supposed to be closed like that because the bridge wasn't bad. It was a mistake on DOT's part. They're gonna send me a letter stating that they apologize, that we should have no more of that. I'm talking big trailers. They had 42 wheels on them. And it's just, it was incredible when they came to the village. It shut the village down.
All right, we're gonna do public comment at the end. We got a lot to
Did
go
anybody
on.
see that vehicle that come through the village this morning on South Avenue?
Yes, that was, that's the one that took an hour.
Took almost 2.5 lanes to get through.
It took an hour to get down through Main Street.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'm sorry, can we just address one comment? I'm sorry, you've had your hand up for,
Okay, explain to me how far down West Main Street is 150 feet. Exactly where does that come across? From
Off of Church,
Street?
off of Church Street, so it goes down below the bend in the road.
So you're talking about?
When you're coming down West Main Street, yep, from the parking lot across.
They're never gonna get it, I mean, I've
Oh,
been
okay.
trying one from Mill Street.
Why can't they cross at the crosswalk that's there now? There is.
We're not gonna put a crosswalk, we're just asking for a study,
We're just asking for a study.
which they've already done multiple times.
They've done 6 studies, I've already called them. 'Cause when,
It's dangerous.
I called them about 4 times for Market Street to get a light. They said, no, if a truck can't stop in the wintertime, we're not giving them. Gave me excuses out of a million excuses.
Yep.
And that's the way it happened. And it's-
Okay.
they're tired of hearing from us, but
Yeah. Yet another study.
All right.
Resolution 2325-2025, resolution to establish and codify rules and regulations for village parks.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I guess for right now, just having the rules posted is something we can, if we want to amend that resolution to hold off on codifying anything. But just having those rules posted on the parks itself that's top priority before.
So we can put them in the stands they have down in the park, that's park.
If there's already pre-existing stands there, yeah, but I know John Carge and I talked about,
We just gotta get it when they're key and
Yeah.
bulletin board.
I
That
don't
one.
think she's gonna give me anything.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 2425-2025, resolution ratifying the termination of the current village treasurer.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 2525 of 2025, resolution ratifying the mayor's appointment of Gregory Hanson as village treasurer.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Who was that? Ryan?
Walt second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Court audit approval. There was an audit, there's a mandatory audit every year of the court, and that was done today by the treasurer. It's in your handout, it's fine. It'll be submitted to the courts per procedures. Can I have a motion?
Is there a second?
Seconded.
After the meeting, Cal, we got a lot to go through here, please.
Walt, Mosh, and who else?
I made the
All in favor?
Opposed?
Approval Festival of the Falls, Saturday, June 13th, 2026. Rain date, Sunday, June 14th, 2026. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
We get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to hire Zachary Canning to the position of part-time police assistant.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approval Refreshing Springs, use of Mizzier Park, July 16th, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. This will be their third year.
They're gonna have the proper insurance to use the park.
Yes.
Now, what,
We get a motion?
I'll make it.
are we gonna have to put extra police on for this?
Is there a second?
Did I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Does it retain?
Carried.
Discussion Building Security, Trustee Venka.
I want to look into getting fobs. I don't know the last time the building was secure. I want to look into getting cameras and fobs to enter. I mean, I don't know who has keys to this building. I honestly don't. I won't even come in here to sign bills by myself because I don't know who has the authority to come in and out. So
So we
that's
can-
all I'm just,
We can, get some prices.
yeah, that's what I'm,
If, you can be in charge of this.
yeah, I'll bring it back to the board.
I would talk to the fire department, see what
Yeah,
they use.
I'm going to, yeah. Yeah, they have fobs, right.
Fobs.
The time you come in and the time you leave. Now, can I ask a question? The back thing about Mizzier Park, you're having an activity there. Do we need to put extra police on?
The church.
On the church? Do we need extra police or anything?
so.
Or a church? Well, I don't know. I just don't want them to call up and these guys go part-time and then we're gonna sit
What
there and
Refreshing
say,
Springs is?
why did they come and work? Well, if we need it, we need it. If we don't, we'll be good. I just don't want it to be put back onto the police department.
Well, we can have the clerk reach out to them tomorrow and see what they need.
Okay.
Mayor, do you know can you explain what the event is? Just, if you know off the top of your head.
You wanna do that?
Let me see if I put it in here.
They've done it in the last couple of years.
Okay.
I think they look for contributions, they look for
Yeah.
clothing that
Can we back
people
up a
might-
little bit? Because the attorney has some questions as to, apparently we should have actually said the start date for dispatcher Canning and also his salary.
Is there a resolution for that? Or
we-
was there one drafted?
A resolution is called an RPC that goes up to the county. Everything is listed in the RPC. I mean, I don't have the RPC here with me.
Okay,
It'll all be in there.
okay. I'm just saying, I just, huh?
Should be 21.97.
An hour?
Is that his first step or second?
New hire.
New hire? He was already here, though. He didn't.
He wasn't here a year and it's still more than what he's made when he left. He
Okay.
got 2 raises since.
Okay.
And what's his start date?
Start date.
Tomorrow morning.
Saturday.
Starting Saturday the 12th?
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know if I can, that's not up to me.
Well, we can give him a start date. He doesn't have to work that day. We just have to, when is he on the books?
Oh,
That's what that's what we're asking, right?
yeah.
Tomorrow? Okay. So do you want me to amend the resolution?
I think there should be an amendment to it, yes.
Okay. I'll amend the resolution to add the 2197 start date tomorrow, the 10th.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, to answer the public's question about the Refreshing Springs, it's part of the Church of God in Christ. It's 74 East Main Street, so it will be a church activity. Okay, they're gonna collect for clothing and whatever else they can get to help people that need it.
Clothing,
Okay, so it's, in other words, it's an outreach from the church.
yeah, they do it every year, I think.
All right, moving on.
Yes, please.
You're welcome.
This one isn't.
All right, so-
This one isn't in the discussion, it's more of a.
Approval, right?
Yeah. Because we have an MOA with the CSEA on this, and it's been
All
looked
right,
over.
going back, Zachary Canning, you're gonna amend the motion for $21.97 per hour, and when's the start date?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 7:10.
And he's off, right, so he should come down and get his uniform or whatever?
Okay, approval MOA, Local 1000, highway contract. That's for 2 of the water department workers. I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Is that the stipend?
That's what they're supposed to get when they go
When
to
they,
school.
when they go to school, they get that bump.
Oh,
They have
for the
the
license.
bump, yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
This is
This
for
ain't-
the water, it's only
same thing
for
as the
one,
CDL.
John.
No, I thought it was something else. I didn't know that. No,
I
that's
made,
John,
good.
if it's for the water department, there's only one going to school.
Yeah, but they're due steps, correct?
they're
Or-
due
or
steps
extra.
from when they took their certification.
Oh,
That's been
okay.
on the.
So is this retro from when they got their,
Yes.
I have a motion. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
We have a request, it looks like. John Tilishek as Director of Recreation. This will be done to help the Recreation Committee. Trustee Shemento.
John Tilshak was integral in managing and organizing recreation events. There's no arguing that. He offered to help out. He's always involved in our recreation meetings, so we figured that he could be acting as director to,
Director or chair?
director.
Director?
Is there a position for director
There
and
is.
chair? Huh?
There's a chair of the committee and then
Oh,
there's,
so we're making a director?
yeah. Just so he-
volunteer?
Yep.
No
It's a
pay.
volunteer,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
pay. It's just there to streamline everything.
We need help.
All right, can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Discussion, who can enforce trash cans on the sidewalks? Trustee Shemento.
We've had an increasing amount of complaints about trash cans being left on the sidewalks, obstructing the sidewalk itself. We've gotten in contact with our building inspector. Our attorney has advised us that code enforcement is in charge of enforcing
Yeah.
that. Exactly.
I think there's a law that has to be, they can't go out no more, like, they can't be out. you can't put
24
them out.
hours before,
Yeah.
24 hours after.
Well, no, there could be a law for it, but
Yeah,
no
there's no law.
one listens to it, and that's what I mean. We see a lot of just,
Trash cans all over.
just ignoring it, so.
You already have a law for
Yeah,
that under solid waste.
The code sets forth the regulations for it. Those regulations should be enforced by the code enforcement officer. I don't think we want our police enforcing garbage cans.
No,
So.
it's done by our building inspector.
All right, we gotta get him out there more often.
I know what the problem is, I don't think that building has anywhere to put it, and this is the problem. And I don't.
Well, it's not just one building, it's several.
It's a couple across the street and on the other side, it's by the park there. I know,
They used to be in a spot, now they're not no longer.
Behind a little fence or something.
Yeah.
yes, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
So you know what, it's not our, we're gonna.
It is our problem.
Well, we're gonna give them tickets, that's the problem.
Well, that's what the whole point
talk to
is
the
who is able to
Yes,
enforce that.
I already talked to Max,
All
he
right.
said he'll take care of it.
All right, thank you.
Discussion, Police Commissioner, Trustee Smith.
I'd like to table that to the next meeting.
We'll have to change, but yeah, it was a business. We're gonna have to change that.
Discussion, boathouse use for summer camp, Trustee McCormick.
So our boathouse got approved by the county to use it in the hot weather or thunderstorms for temporary, for her to go down there and use that. The county approved that. So I just want the public and us, I guess, I don't know if we have to vote on it, but give her permission to do that. And if we were ever to want to use that for camp permanently, they said it would be a perfect spot. But
Park Commission's good with this?
Park Commission and I, we all talked last night. It would be a stint of 7 weeks during the summer, I believe.
yeah, I don't think she's going to ever get to that point. There's too much to do over there.
And that's right, but it gives at least, so the kids don't have to get bused down there or walk down there.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
Um,
And we don't have to close early now. We can use that with the air conditioner.
Exactly.
And John's got the insulation for the overhangs coming next week.
Yeah,
So-
so turn it to a full day camp.
Yeah.
All right,
All right?
great.
To the police commissioner.
Discussion Highway Superintendent, trustee McCormick.
So the highway superintendent, if we could get the personnel committee to pick their best two and get John to send it up to the county just to make sure that the applicants are okay civil service wise, if that's something we can do. That way we're not in this position we were with the last one. If that's okay with everybody?
We've only had 4 applicants, so.
I would like to have them send up right away.
Do you have
No way.
two that at least, John said maybe not send
I
them
can
all?
meet with the personnel board quickly after this and decide the best 2
And
and
have them-
then I'll email.
Yeah,
them.
but I would send them all, if there's only 4, send them up.
Will they do that, John?
No, no, we'll be lucky to get 2 done.
Okay. So get our best two.
Usually you guys pick the one you want, then we send it and they say, yes, that's fine.
Okay. So then we'll meet after this meeting really quick and then pick the best
So
one.
let's try 2. Can we try 2?
Yes, try to.
And then have them fill out the county application, correct, John?
Yes,
They've
absolutely.
already done that, the ones that I put up there, I think 4, they've already filled it out.
I would recommend, there are only 4. You can send them up for approval through the county to make sure they satisfy the requirements for the position. When they come back, then you conduct your interviews, and then you can select who you like.
Great.
And they're approved, you can approve it right away after that because they've already been vetted.
Great.
All right,
Okay.
What are we gonna do now?
gonna send 4 of them up there.
I'll send 4 of them up there and you'll be waiting for a while to get them back.
That's all right, send them up.
Okay, I have correspondence here. On Monday, July 7th, 2025, at our regular monthly meeting, this is William T. Garner, voted to approve a new member, Max Dale. He's our building inspector. The membership also voted to fill 3 line officer positions. Thomas Kellerman was elected assistant captain. Giovanni Cherico and Devin Goodyard were both elected as second lieutenants. Can I have a motion to accept the correspondence?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Monthly updates, finance, trustee Marshall.
I'm gonna have to, I didn't get any update on our finance.
Trustee,
And, just a few things have been taken away. Some people have been taken off of payroll, which we're gonna straighten out. But there's nothing I can report on because I didn't get nothing.
okay. Police, trustee Marsh.
Okay. Our police department had a very busy month of June. Service calls shot up to 461. Okay, that's a lot of activity for this little place. 14 arrests, 109 traffic tickets, 14 parking tickets, 2 larcenies, 1 drug complaint, 23 motor vehicle accidents they had to respond to, 4 motorist assists, 5 domestic disputes, 20 burglar or hold-up alarms, 27 medical calls, 21 fire calls, and there was 10 of other criminal investigations, 7 other disputes or fights, no use of force incidents, 10 properties of lost or found, and 7 calls to assist another agency. And as always, to receive text alerts about special events and other important announcements, please text 12590 to 888-777. All right. I think we had a pretty good month there. Our police department is doing a pretty good job responding, and Sergeant Ludwig is doing a good job of keeping everybody moving along here. But he's gonna need help, and we're gonna get him some help. We're gonna work on it.
All right.
We have 2 new officers at this time that came out of the academy that are being trained right now. So we're building up the police department again. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Highway, trustee Marshall.
Yeah. How you doing, everybody? Tom from Highway. Sewer guys, and everybody, please pass the word. Stop flushing them flushables down the sewer because they're really not flushables. We've been getting a lot of calls on them. Our fleet maintenance, we've been trying to keep everything in-house, doing oil changes, greasing, keeping up on everything, but we did have to send a sweeper out to phase 2. Haven't got the bill for that one yet, but it's probably going to be a nice one, but it's something that we use for everything, sweeping the roads, but it's back and fixed. Normal Mondays, we do our trash through the parks on Main Street. Sewer repairs, multiple sewer clogs have a rise because of the flushables, most of them. Signs, we've replaced a bunch of signs due to high winds. We've been getting the storms. High winds, graffiti, trucks running them over. And we've replaced a bunch of new parking signs due to fading, new stop signs due to fading and damaging. Blacktop, we did 4 catch basins. That's fixed, patch, and mortared. We did 2 ADA ramps. One of them's on Remsen and Maple, and the other one is Prospect and 9D. Multiple curbs and sidewalk repairs throughout the village. We did a new sidewalk, 60 feet by 5 feet, curb and sidewalk installed up on High Street. Blacktop. We did blacktop potholes, patches throughout the village. Guys are up weekly in the dump, keeping that straight so we can keep the environmental off of our back. Maintenance and housekeeping in the shop is weekly. DPW has been assisting recreation for cleaning up the old branches, dead branches, keeping it safe for them kids underneath the trees, keeping shade. We also helped out with Central Hudson, did some paving for us. We talked to them. I got talking with the main guy from Central Hudson. They were you guys seen the trenches all over the place that they just pave, and down the years they break up. Well, I got them to pave the whole half of road, so from curb to center, that was disruptive, so they're not.
That was high.
So we did Brookside, High Street, and Walnut. Did half the length, which is, I think, pretty better than just paving a 3-inch trench like that. You know, we got half the lane milled and paved, and it looks good. Did a good job, and we also installed a catch basin and 60 feet of pipe on High Street. And that's about it. How do you do, Kath?
Hey, do you want to send a notice out in the water garbage bill about this, for the sewer things? Would that be something you guys want to do?
Yes, actually.
So maybe talk to Heather about that and get.
We've done that. Absolutely. We've been doing that every time the water bill goes out. Heather contacts me and we get a little love note and a water bill saying, stop flushing the flushables.
Maybe talk to her and.
A lot of ours, I've been seeing a lot of rags too. Just a bunch of stuff gets flushed down there. That shouldn't be down there. That hurts us. That's the word, everybody.
You're keeping the track of the streets that are the ones that are clogged back. Make sure you keep that track, because I want to be able to know that. So we can track that.
Well, if you know the streets that are even worse, to most, you could send them out first.
Yeah.
Or send them out.
That's why we got to
period.
keep a record.
Guys been picking up the slack down there. Been doing good. It's hot out there. My guys been working their hands off. They've been doing good. Doing a lot of work.
Listen, we
Proud.
appreciate it. I appreciate
A lot of help from the water department coming in when they got some free time to help out with some trash and brush on Mondays. We really appreciate
Great.
it. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just a comment, when the water bills are going to homeowners, not to the renters. So the homeowners are not
Relaying the message.
information to their tenants.
When their sewer clogs up in their house, maybe they'll figure it out quick.
Yeah.
I do just have a quick question. I guess this pertains to highway. John Karch, do we have the batch of new Hometown Hero banners? Where are they?
They're here. I told you that.
They're in the.
They're right next door.
Okay. I was gonna ask if you guys would be able to hang up the rest of them. If not, we can get what is his name? He does them independently too. I know you guys are busy, so I don't want to add anything else to your schedule, but.
Yeah, Jimmy does it independently. I could try and get Town of Poughkeepsie to send their truck in a guy. right now it's for hot season.
I don't think there are that many.
There's
So,
10.
The biggest issue is you're getting these banners, I don't know if they're replacement banners, replacing other
they're
banners.
in addition,
This
there's,
is an addition, so we gotta find areas to hang
Okay.
them where people are not, no one wants to get hung,
right.
on,
I know there's a couple
the
in
end of
front
Elm
St.
Street or
Mary's, but I
whatnot,
understand what you're saying. Well, you and I can talk about that. I
yeah,
just wanted to know.
absolutely.
Yeah,
We
thank
can
you.
work something out, we can figure
There's
something out.
4 of them.
We'll figure it out, it's not,
All right.
not crazy, keep up with your haircut, you look good.
Okay, fire, trustee Shimento.
All right, so we had a total of 49 calls, 3 motor vehicle accidents, 35 automatic fire alarms, 4 gas emergency calls, 5 fires, and then 2 miscellaneous calls. The Dutchess Ave fire, it's still under investigation. Again, thank you for all the first responders and the community support that we saw there. Wappingers Falls Fire Department had a great turnout for the fire itself. We had many members there, and always we are in need of volunteers. So,
All right, thank you.
Thank you for that. Lake, Mayor.
All right, so the lake, the weeds are they've been sprayed, the portions that we paid for. We are in the process of the dock. I don't know if the highways
The
have
dock
gotten
was
to it
full.
yet.
It was pulled.
There's
So
a
one
section of
part
the dock
today.
that's rotted. While we're in the process of looking to buy a new dock, we pulled the rotted dock and we made the dock kind of shorter for the time being because it was a safety hazard, so we took care of that today, you said?
Yeah, today.
Thank you. And that's what I got for Lake.
Okay, safety. We really need to have AEDs, defibrillators, in all of our locations, right? The board was gracious enough to allow me to go out and buy 2 additional ones. You'll notice we generally have one on the wall over there that I, last couple years, have lent out to the recreation department because that is a county requirement. So we now have 2 new ones. One new one for camp and camp only. When they're done with camp, it's going to be secured and locked up, put away till next year. That one will be put back on there, and the second one we purchased will be in the village hall. So I'm glad we took care of that. These are brand-new machines, and all you have to do is open it up and push a button, and it tells you how to do everything else in 2 languages. Amazing. So that's the safety part of it. I've been attending, I'm going to have to do a deposition, and it's about safety of the collapsed sidewalk on West Main Street. I've gone up to do a deposition twice, and both times they rescheduled it. So I was there today for 2 hours, and then they said, well, we're going to have to reschedule you again. But that's fine. That's fine. That's pretty much it for safety for this month. Recreation, trustee McCormick.
So our next rec meeting is July 15th, and we'll probably be discussing the Halloween event. And that's it for now.
Building department, trustee Marshall.
Yes, we've taken in $6,450 in permits. We've issued 15 building permits, and we've closed out 21 permits that were issued. And we're down with the electric because of the fire and stuff, and that brings it up to 12 permits just for electrical. We're trying to work with them people to get them, Andy Patton, he hasn't, so, we got to try to rush everything. I mean, I've sent down electrical inspections, they've come up and paid for them just to get them going, so if Central Hudson comes, they don't see a permit there, they're gonna leave, and to get them back is like the act of God. So, we've been working with them, so it's been good. Thank you.
Water, trustee Mosh.
Okay, I'm going to defer that to trustee Smith.
Oh,
Trustee Smith.
sorry.
Water's doing fine, everything's going good. One grant is on the table. We discussed it at the last meeting. We're going through all the paperwork to be able to get started, and we'll be getting Wendlass Tower painted, and possibly the old one up on the hill taken down. And then there's another grant after that, that's a free, grant to put in the green sand filter.
That's,
I believe the one was the one that you put in 21. It was
USDA.
20.1, but we can't afford to. So they did say that they will put us right back in if we apply again. So we're working on it, but rub 2 coins together, see if we can get 4. So.
I would like to see that one that Todd found for $3.1 million for a sand filter.
We got that.
Yeah.
Got that one.
I would like that.
We got it. Well, we got it, we're waiting for, everything is paperwork, everything takes, not days, not weeks, months.
That you're sending out for now for the engineering, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, that's another thing I would
we're
suggest.
trying.
To get, well, we're gonna have to hire another engineer for that, if Todd bids on that job.
We'll see what happens.
Well, we need to get this going.
We are.
Please,
I wish it was that simple, Bob. Maybe we'll send Drew up there.
I'll help.
Court, trustee Vanka.
I'm in communication with Judge Chase. I have 2 communications from him. One reporting that Judge Fiorello will be on vacation from June 30th till July 7th, which of course is already passed. The other was, please be advised, the side door at the court building is for police and court business only. It is only used as an emergency use door and should not be used for daily use. If you have any questions, please contact me. I was just looking for an email that we got, John. Didn't he request somebody be put on the agenda for a hire tonight?
No.
For hiring,
That was the temp, wasn't it temporary again? Yes.
It was
Yeah.
supposed to be the temp to permanent.
Temp to permanent?
Yeah, she was
I-
temporarily, all right, well, we'll have to
I
discuss
haven't
that.
seen that. I know he wanted one down there to be on call.
There's one that's on extended leave, and he wanted to make the temp, put the temp in her spot.
Correct. He
So,
didn't say anything to me about making any temps permanent.
no, he sent an email, but I can't find it. So, all right, so that's all I have on court.
We'll look into that.
Yep.
Cobbler Building, trustee Vanka.
I need to get the town or the village engineer to go look at it, because there's a big crack in the floor, but being as though it's, Max has already looked at it, the building inspector, and he doesn't think it's an issue. But it was built on a slab, and it looks like there's concrete under where the slice is, so I just want to make sure that the engineer takes a look at it.
You can reach out to Todd.
Yeah, I want him to take a look at it too, yeah. I didn't know whether I needed approval for that, because okay, cool. Okay.
That's a wood floor, there's a
There's a-
crawl space under there.
I didn't know that. I thought it was built on a slab, because there's no, underneath. Okay,
Yeah, I'll give you
On
right
the
to the meeting.
shoot.
okay.
Oh,
That's
really?
it. That's all I
What's
have.
that?
The whole floor.
The back, you gotta go into the back?
I don't know about where it steps up to the back, but I know the whole, you're talking about the small cobbler building?
The whole thing is hollow. When I rented it, I pulled all the old sewing machines out. It was a floor when I redid the
Small
floor.
crawl space, but you can't get underneath there. The only reason I know is because we ran new water there years ago.
So there's
That's
nothing, you
what we
can't
want.
get under there without cutting a hole in the floor.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. And actually, speaking about that, we drove by the other day, so you might want to go look at the old awning roller. That's
Gotta
half
take
falling
that
off.
off.
Yeah.
You gotta get that off. Did
Did it
you
fall down?
go under that structure?
On the right hand side.
What's that?
Did you get under there and look did you remember how it looked under there as far as structurally?
It's just hollow, like, almost like a deck, I remember.
it's
It's
on
like a
dirt.
deck, it's,
No rot, do you
joists.
remember?
That was so many years ago.
Okay.
20 plus years ago.
Well, the village engineer should look at it, that's
So we're gonna have to cut a hole in the floor and get a hatch there.
probably. All right.
All
John,
right, so,
show and tell.
Shrine Union. I'm one of the 4 commissioners. Mary's one of the 4 also. And I've been trying very hard to demonstrate to New York State DEC and what the Village of Wappingers Falls is doing to prevent illicit discharge going into the sewer system, like sump pumps. I found out today, Trustee Ryan found some legislation that I've been asking for a few months, that I can go to the commission and say, our building inspector, while in somebody's house, if he's inspecting, let's say, a furnace, and he sees a sump pump going into the sewer pipe, that's a violation. That has to be corrected. And our new, thanks to Trustee Marshall, our new inspector has agreed that he will do that routinely. So that is a big plus. This here, the second thing I want to do is, along with one of our residents, Jimmy Chase volunteered, we're going to go up and down every street with a level, 6-foot level. We're going to put it on top of that manhole cover to see how much of a depression it is that's allowing runoff water to go down into that system. When you look at the numbers of the sewer in relationship to storms, they almost follow each other. And it has driven our capacity over for the tri-municipal sewer system to the extent they put a moratorium on, and nobody can hook into the system until they are satisfied that we have sufficient capacity. I don't know when that's going to be. There are a lot of projects in the village, small projects, but there are some larger projects in the towns that are held up because of that. I have a meeting tomorrow morning at down there at 10 o'clock, doesn't it?
10 o'clock.
10?
9.
9. And I think there's going to be some new news tomorrow about some relief for some of the projects anyway. But anyway, we're going to walk every street. I'm going to record, and probably be the first time this has ever been done. I'm going to record every single one of them and where they are on the street, and I'll assign a number to them so we have a record of all the drains. The ones that are really very obvious that water's running down in there from a runoff event, we could either use something like this. You lift the cover up, you put this in the hole, the cover goes back on, and it traps the water from going down into the sewer. These cost about $150 each. My suggestion is that if it's really deep, we put a collar on there first. Maybe the collar will hold that up high enough where we won't need something like this. But I just wanted to demonstrate to you, like I'm going to demonstrate tomorrow to the commission. We are trying to do things in the Village of Wappingers Falls. We're not just sitting back and, oh, gee, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to spend millions of dollars to increase the capacity down at the tri-uni. But we really need all three of us, all three communities, town of Wappingers, town of Poughkeepsie, and Village of Wappingers Falls, to really see what we can do to prevent that. Okay? Okay. That's all I wanted to say about that. That's my show and tell.
Where does the water go when you trap it?
It stays in here, and then the next rain event, they'll just make it go out.
Stays on the surface. Yeah. I would suggest just to use the catch basin like up in front of Pete Sismore's house when they did 9D here. There's a big, it puddles, but there's no catch basin, so it's a dead cause. It's just the way they put the blacktop down. But then again, it's like the law is for New York State, is the center of your road is not supposed to succeed the curve. And every road in the village succeeds the curve.
What you have to take into consideration with a project like this is you don't want to elevate the manhole covers because when they plow snow, that's very dangerous. These men going down the road 30 miles an hour and hit one of them, they're going to go through the windshield. Unless it's 3 miles an hour.
20, the speed limit is 20, right?
10.
Are the cops here?
Okay, thank you. I'll keep you updated every month on how Well, we do.
Thank you, John.
Anybody got anything from the board? 'Cause I got a couple things. All right, so, I don't know if the board's interested, but I got quite a few phone calls, and I get it, it's the 4th of July. Fireworks were concerned in this village this year.
I guess that's something. 'Cause-
Lots of them. So, you too?
Yeah.
So, there is a municipality across the river, Middletown, that has a law about fireworks. And I don't know if it's something that this board would like to look into, see how we can ban it.
That's exactly, Donnie and I were talking about that last night. Putting within the village limits, absolutely no fireworks, especially, the fire, I don't know if it was caused by fireworks, but
Yeah.
God forbid, we have houses in close proximity to each other.
I think the law, the one in Middletown was, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this is how the law reads. When the state of New York allowed to sell the sparkler devices,
Yeah.
the municipality of Middletown, city of Middletown opted out of that.
It just
If I remember
it just
correctly.
causes litter. I mean, at the end of the day,
Correct,
a lot of
yeah.
people don't
Yeah,
pick
you have
up
to
after them.
opt out or
and-
opt in, according to what I
Yeah.
believe was with New York State.
It'd
You
be
have to-
nice to
I
get
thought that was the county.
rid of the one in the bowling alley parking.
I'd have to look at it.
I thought that was a
Certainly look
county.
into it.
You can
Opt in or
opt, you
opt
can
out.
opt out with the sale, possession, and usage.
Usage?
It's there, so it's in the 270 section, but it's been updated and revised over several years because there's been a couple of holidays that have been added.
Yeah.
There's been added weeks for New Year's, and I
4th of
believe
July.
there's, the Chinese New Year is another one now. I may be wrong, but it's a new holiday in New York City, so the fireworks are 3 times a year right now that I'm aware of. The 270 section is a violation to possess and utilize. There's a misdemeanor clause in there for selling, but the village would have to make a determination of, within the confines of the village of Wapengers Falls, to sell fireworks. And you had 2 companies that were selling fireworks here in the village, so that you would have to draft, and, you know, Ian would have to
Yeah,
get
so
involved in that, but you would have to draft, in addition to the local law, referencing the New York State penal law pertaining to possession, usage, and sale.
Yep.
Because there's different categories pertaining to that. So that's something that you'd have to look into.
All right, we'll look into that and we'll.
Can it be in an individual municipality, or does it, because I was told it was county. Like county could opt in or county could opt out.
State law, it's clearly.
No, I know it's a state law,
2018, you can opt out of.
right, but I don't, what I'm saying is the, thanks, appreciate it. We're talking state law. So what I'm asking you is, okay, but what I'm asking is, I was under the impression that each individual municipality could not opt in or out on their own. It had to be county, had to either opt in or out.
I think
And that's what I'm asking.
Any municipality can,
Okay.
but you'd have to look, Ian, you'd have to reference the 270 section.
Right.
But there are updates from
Okay.
2018 to current.
Okay, cool,
So
okay.
you'd have to reference those, and then whatever the
There could be
village.
time limitations on opt-outs, there could be all
Okay,
sorts, we'll have to look into it. It's
And you
not,
have, you can draft your own law. So.
All right, so we'll look into
yeah,
that.
it's gonna be next.
And the other thing I have is, I would just like to personally thank Treasurer Java for the job she's done. She's got us, 2 years ago, out of some trouble with the state. The village wasn't paying the employees' retirements and taxes and a bunch of other stuff that she's done. So I think she's done her job well. Wish her well in her next endeavor.
Back to the fireworks then. Now, fireworks now, some of them are legal to get, right? So this would be,
No fireworks in the village of Wapengers Falls.
you would have to make that a rule.
Correct.
And then I guess-
That would supersede the legal fireworks.
Correct. Within the village limits. I mean,
There's been a lot of complaints.
we'd have to go through definitions and see if sparklers, those count as fireworks, then that would get into nitty gritty details, but that's something that we have to talk about too.
regards to the question of superseding a state law, there's instances when a village law can and cannot do that, and that's one of the aspects that we would have to look into.
Well, I believe there's a provision in the state law that says opt-in or opt-out.
No.
To my knowledge, yeah, okay.
Sometimes those opt-ins and opt-outs
Right.
have actual time limitations. So, for instance, the cannabis law, when that went into effect, there was an opt-in and opt-out, opt-in. There was an opt-out provision.
Right.
And it had to be done within a time frame, and if not, then you could opt back in because it's the actual law, but you could no longer opt out.
Gotcha.
So you might be time barred from doing such a thing. So we'll have to look into it.
Okay.
I believe we can. All right, well, we'll look into it. Look into it. Yeah, we'll look into it. Anybody else on the board?
No.
Mrs. Von Berg?
I know that, I used to be called the cat lady, now I'm gonna be called the rat lady. I think most of the rats are kind of probably mostly down to McCluskey's place. Sounds like it's a good place with free food. But I don't want to neglect this. Has any progress been made at all on at least investigating or looking to where the origin from the rats are?
Well, one thing, this is what, I've taken the building inspector, since we drive behind the nursing home, and we can look right into his yard, so we do have pictures of everything. But there's
In
no,
whose yard?
Mr. Kalusk,
Okay, all right.
into his yard and the neighbor's yard. Jeff's next to him, so he would definitely have them if they were.
Not this year, last year the cats got about 12 babies.
So, the thing is, we sent 2 letters, and now the next letter is registered and certified, so somebody has to sign for it. Because if not, he's up in Fort Ticonderoga, which is close to, he's on Vermont.
Where is this letter going to?
It's going to his house.
Well, yeah, but that's where they're probably, as they go through, where's the food? They're going over there, because I know John, I can imagine what it looks like.
Well, hopefully we
But
can,
where do they come from originally?
So anywhere there's water,
Make a stop to it.
anywhere there's water, there's going to be rats. I think the livestock has exacerbated this issue and increased it. But that's just a reality, I guess, of living by the lake and
Have to
everything.
live with the rats?
No, not at all. But I'm just saying that is something that is going to happen near water.
Nobody wants rats.
No one wants rats.
well, the thing is, we just gotta make sure that we don't feed them anymore, please.
I don't feed them. But I can't, when do I get to feed my birds again?
Well,
When can I feed the birds again? When?
I would put it up in a bird feed, and not, it can't be, once it goes onto the ground, the same thing with over here on Missouri Avenue, right across from Renee's house, I've got complaints. They see
Yes,
rats.
yes,
They
a
see-
lot of them.
Yes, they see rats there.
A
So
lot
I go
of
to address the problem with the people that see the rat, and the houses must have been family, they're built so close. So I tell them, listen, they can't put nothing to kill the rats. They've trapped them and moved them, but there's so many of them. The thing is, they have children, so they can't put anything to get rid of the rats, because it jeopardizes their kids, So I can't sit there and tell you what to do, because then it leaves me liable. Or the building inspector. Mark Lederman and the building inspector sent that family registered letters. Now they stopped feeding them, and so far, we haven't had no complaints come across the table.
Well, I don't want to go through it every year. I'm tired of it. And I did, this year I hired a pest control, and then we had to have our porch done so they wouldn't get back under the porch again. And I just think we have a beautiful village. We have beautiful residents.
That's right.
People work hard to keep their yards looking good and nice.
See, I live over in Franklandale. I'm down by the
Irontown.
Yes.
You're going way back now, right? Way back, Irontown.
I have a shirt that says Irontown.
But,
The thing is, I'm there, and let me tell you, between the coyotes.
but you have the dump there, right? Is it still
It's
there?
supposed to be called staging area.
Okay.
Okay?
But I mean,
They come and they go, so.
but they have to come from someplace. Some come from the creek, Brenda.
Yep,
The
they're
creek,
coming.
so what can we do?
Stop feeding water
You
on
just
the
talked about
ground.
Stop doing what?
Stop putting food on
I
the
don't,
ground.
well, I don't.
You have to hang it.
Yeah, I don't think. But, you know, I'm tired of it. Every year it's like this.
Steve?
Is this public comment now?
Yep.
Come up from the water.
When is Lori's last day?
I think that's a long.
Would be
What did you?
Monday at 8 o'clock, because we need a treasurer over the weekend, just in case something
Well,
has happened.
I just think there's something can be done, there must be somebody, they have to be coming from someplace. If we had a grocery store
The new
there,
treasurer
I'd
starts at
say
8 a.m.,
maybe grocery store.
7:59.
Or maybe even a gas station, but we don't have any. And they got it. I'm tired of it.
Are we doing public comments?
Okay.
All right. Steve?
Where do you live at now?
Prospect.
You said Lori's last day is when?
Would be Monday at 7:59.
Well, anyway, I'd like to see a progress report on it.
I will come to your house, promise, after we do the registered letter to the Sun. We're never gonna handle it, has to go back in there and serve the papers to him. Because he's gotta be served, because both parents are up there in Fort Ticonderoga in a nursing home. So there's,
Well, that house is probably gonna have to be condemned, which is a shame.
I know,
It's a beautiful
well,
place.
back then, when Cal was on the board, I think Cal, you were on the board when we domained the house in the alleyway, which was up on the rocks. I mean, they abandoned it, I forgot the family that was there, and we ended up taking it and taking the property, remember that?
I'm sure that's where they're all going now. So maybe we should leave that house there, and they'll all go there, and then we won't have them.
All right, Bob, you'll look into that?
Yes, sir.
Back to her?
Yeah.
All right.
Just need a progress report.
Steve?
I will come to your door.
I don't want to,
Okay.
I love this bill.
There's another gentleman wanting to speak.
Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to express my concerns about the USDA loan and the EFC grant that the water department is a stone throw away from receiving. My concern is that the new treasurer coordinate with the old treasurer so that there's a real, my concern is that it's going to take time to get acclimated to the position. And as you're all aware, the grant was applied for in 2021, and it seems like from history, the 2022-2023 era, when there was 5 treasurers that came in, that's why that grant and that money got left there sitting in no man's land.
Which one is it, the 3.1 million?
There's a 3.1 million grant and the
That's for the
USDA,
sand.
and the USDA, which we were just getting ready to go out to short-term banding with for. And my concern is really for the residents that the ball gets dropped, not because the person that's coming in any fault of his own, but just because it takes time to acclimate to the position.
Well, I can guarantee you, seeing
Just
it.
communicate with him and make
Yes.
sure that, all
He
that contact
will be on
information.
top of that,
Been
but
thought of.
the one thing I would like to say is that we have to give him a chance. And my biggest pet peeve is, we've had that $3.1 million for about 2 years now. That was what Todd
No, it got
Atkins,
awarded in January.
Todd Atkinson found that.
It
And
got
he's,
awarded in January.
yeah, Todd
This
Atkinson,
year.
well, no, Todd, it was hidden.
Todd and Lori worked on that one.
Yeah,
together.
Todd
It was both of
found
them.
it. Todd found that. So I would like that to get moved on before we start going out chasing other money.
So I just have I have a quick question. This is the USDA grant, that's what?
This is a
someone
US
on the-
USDA grant, we got approved for up to $20
No, no,
million
I
at
understand.
1.7. We're not asking for the full 20.
So the
because we can't afford
1.7,
it.
that's the percent interest that we pay back on,
I
correct?
can't hear you, what?
So we pay 1.7% interest on that grant.
Correct.
Only on the money that we take,
How much money would we be looking, you're on the water board, correct?
correct.
How much money would we be looking to take?
So the water board, from my calculations, would be able to comfortably handle 300,000 in terms of short-term banding.
Okay.
Which gives us the opportunity to go for the USDA, the EFC grant, which is a pay up front and then get reimbursed, and also 3 and change from the USDA, which will take care of the water towers.
Okay.
So the short-term banding altogether is going to be about 300,000, give or take, based on the interest rate, which will range between 3.7 and 5%.
So would we be able to, if we take this money, well, say we take the amount that you're saying, are we able to go back to that grant and take more out of it or no?
No, the grant is just a finite amount.
Okay.
It's period.
Understood.
It's basically a loan.
The grant is not a loan, it's a grant. You don't have to
It's a
pay
grant,
back.
but the 3.1 you don't have to pay back.
Right.
But the other money you're borrowing, you have to pay back.
Right, when the water department makes enough money to cover that.
Okay.
My other concern was chapter 143, vehicle and traffic. I noticed when I was reading the code the other day that local law number 3 passed in 2024 sets a weight limit of 7,500 pounds for East Main Street. Why is there never any enforcement on that?
Well,
There is.
the street you
There's
drive,
not.
listen, the street you drive on in the village, where you, in front of your house.
East Main
It's-
Street is the only
Well,
one I'm
listen,
talking about
I'm
right
talking
now.
about any street in this village that you drive on besides East Main Street. It's only 6,000 pounds. So your truck that you're driving around is illegal to have on the street.
No, it's not, because the way the law is written, sir, is that I'm allowed to come in and out of the village because I live here and I
It
stay
doesn't
here.
matter if you live here or not.
does, it's the way the law was
have-
written in
If you look at the
2024.
laws, they have to be changed. All these laws are so far outdated, they're not even up to code.
This law was passed last year, though.
And you said in
referencing-
2024 this one was?
Yeah, local law
So,
number 3, 2024 set a weight limit of 7,500 pounds on East Main Street, but there's never any enforcement of it. And also included in that local law was the fact that if you're coming in to deliver or you live here, then you don't have to get a special permit or anything. And that's not an old law, that's last year.
All right, that's right.
Let me clarify the local law. We worked for a very long time on trying to update, correct, fix errors, fix problems. There were a multitude of issues with the traffic enforcement laws, right? Not with the enforcement, but with the laws itself, right?
Understood.
So we worked, I mean, an enormous amount of time was spent trying to do this. Part of that was, really that was driven by the issue of the emergency parking with snow removal and everything else. So that was a driver behind it. So we, instead of doing one local law and then coming back to another one, and it takes time and a ton of money to do that, we grabbed as many as we possibly could, as many streets as we possibly could, and updated what we could. The way the code is written, it was easier to just repeal and readopt what was there because of the number of edits, to try to update the code, because the way the code works, if you read it, there are schedules, and those schedules refer back to other sections. There's like so many cross-references. So it took us an enormous amount of time. When you make one little edit, it ripple effects through the code. So we went through it and cross-referenced everything back, but to do it piecemeal was virtually impossible. It was much easier to rewrite the entire section, even areas and aspects of the law that were not being amended. So the one you're referencing, the weight limit, that's been in effect for 100 years. Just because the local law was passed, it was essentially just regurgitating what was already there because it was not within the purview of what we were trying to amend. Mind you, there was a million different updates in that law.
It's a robust chapter, there's no doubt. So my question is, why isn't it the weight limit being enforced?
Do we have weights? I don't know that
7,500
we have
pounds, you heard it
scales.
from the lawyer. He's absolutely right, it's 7,500 pounds on East Main
Okay,
Street.
but what I will do is I will talk to the officer in charge, because I know what he's been, he's also been paying special attention to West Main, is where the big, huge trucks are coming through. So they've been putting officers there, but you also, we're stretched for manpower with police. So I will, but Sergeant Ludwig is amazing about trying to get people and taking care of areas, so I will address that with him, okay?
Do you have a time frame where they're worse so they can help the police narrow it down, or is it all the time? There's gotta be a time where it's worse.
During the day.
I know during the day. What
Monday
hours?
through Sunday.
His house shapes just like
What
mine.
hours? I
See,
meant to say.
it goes more up East Main, West Main.
Is there certain hours where it's worse, is my question.
There's not. The mayor's actually right. It's all day long. But you had started off the meeting by commenting about the big trucks that were coming through the village.
Exactly.
And lo and behold, there is a local law, but there's
Right.
no enforcement mechanism.
Unfortunately, I'm being told, and I don't know why, because I'm from Westchester originally, and there's a state road in Westchester that has a weight limit on it, from 7 in the morning until 7 at night, which is why I thought we could get DOT activated in here and put something like that in effect coming through our village, because it's a state road. So,
But East Main Street is a village road.
but that's an extension of 9D too, right, isn't it? So that particular portion is just ours?
Yeah, but
From the police
You have
station
full
to
control over
the
that
Route 9 is
road.
ours.
not really.
Yeah,
because
I'm
the
not
bikes
talking
in the
about
road
there
are
with the
owned
big
by
trucks.
the
They're,
state.
they're turning on to
But
Route.
that's where he's at.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. I'm talking about, see, the ones that I'm talking about are coming from Sheaf Road. They're turning by the South Hills Mall. They're coming down all the way through our village and going on to 9D, not going out onto 9. They're not going in the area you're talking about, so,
That's the state road, which you have no control over.
well, we do. We can
East
ask
Main-
them.
But East Main Street, you have
Right.
full
So-
control
Right.
over.
Would you like to see enforcement or an increase in the weight? I guess that's
I would like to see.
enforcement?
I would like to see you change the law or enforcement. I think there's a duality there that shouldn't exist.
Okay.
They're local.
I guess that would be considered a
They're
delivery.
local, so they're allowed.
I think that would be
Local delivery,
considered
yeah.
a delivery of children. I would think.
Couple of questions following up on items that were mentioned earlier. John, can you please clarify, the village only owns 3 AEDs for any location or site that is owned by the village, is that correct?
The trees?
The AEDs.
Oh, they're for the entire village.
But they're physically I'm just wondering if there isn't some PESH requirement, should there not be one at the highway department location and the water plant
What's
as a
that?
working site?
They should be everywhere, in my estimate.
You mean a ADA lines for,
No,
The AED.
okay,
The defibrillators.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
just
there should-
surprised, especially with those particular working locations. I would think they would be an essential component. I'm surprised
be
there isn't a PESH
Water,
requirement.
water, police, highway,
Yeah, yes, police station,
they
yes.
should all have it.
The police do have them,
Okay.
The camp's got them.
several of them.
Do you?
The camp has one.
So I think there should
We
be
will
one
have,
mounted at the
The courts have one, so there should be highway too.
water plant and highway. Is there one at the water plant?
No.
No, and the highway department?
Right there.
Say again, I'm sorry.
No, there's not.
Defibrillator.
None of them.
I would ask that the board seriously consider
Well, that you-
locations and areas.
well, you would be asking me to follow up with our carrier, our comp carrier, to see what they say.
Well,
What-
yes, and ask them if there's a PESH requirement that they be there.
Well, that's what I'm gonna find, that's what I'm,
Somebody's gotta be certified to use it, I mean,
that would be,
No, that's not true.
somebody's gotta be trained to use it.
No, that's the whole beauty of it.
It tells you what to do.
Tells you
We got
exactly
trained
what to
that
do.
in high school.
John, if you could follow up on that, I think that
Yeah.
would be
The one at the
important.
campsite.
I believe
The only-
the director has to be certified or qualified.
Does the village have a procurement officer or someone that's designated as the procurement officer? Does the treasurer act as the procurement officer, or is the treasurer empowered to act as the procurement officer?
It would be, yeah.
I mean, the reason I ask, and this is a suggestion, if it's not done, follow up on the boat purchase discussion. You said there was $5,000 allocated in the budget for
There's
the
a
boat.
procurement policy we have.
I'm sorry,
We have a
right,
procurement policy.
right, but someone, when you start making purchases like that, even purchases like the garbage cans,
Yeah.
having someone that has the strong working knowledge of that procurement policy. I mean, I would think in a normal process for something like a boat, you go out to bid, you follow the state bid documents.
So they
That's
did,
right in
and
the
this
policy.
is, this was, they did,
There's a policy and then there's
there's a
being
policy in
able to
effect,
follow
and
through.
this is, that boat dealer was the sole provider, because they're the only ones that make that kind of boat.
Okay.
So no one else makes that kind of boat, so that, we checked the procurement policy on that, and that's the only one that goes through with that.
Okay.
On emergency purpose boat.
So then, in a situation such as that, having a document whereby they come back, so that your time isn't spent reviewing a lot of these things or having to go back and forth, that whoever is making the purchase, if it's a department, there's a form that they sign saying, yes, it meets the budget, no, it doesn't. It is a sole source procurement, and if it's more, this is the way we plan on paying for the remainder.
This is why we have a fire committee. They're gonna tackle that and
Okay.
report back to the board, because we're the body that makes the decisions on that. So they're already aware of it. They have to follow their procedures, and they have to either get 3 bids, or if it's the only one that makes that type of boat, well, that's the only one we gotta go to. And if they can't come up with the money in their thing, then they'll come to the board, or me, head of or finance, would be me, Rose, and Donnie, and we would sit down and we'd find the money for them.
So I see what you're saying, you need an individual where the buck stops, basically, for the procurement.
That's the procurement policy.
And
You're a board that meets once a month, twice a month. You have committees, but you also have employees on staff that are being paid to research these things, do these things for you. I would think the treasurer would be the person most knowledgeable of the procurement policy in the areas out there. Having a procurement officer, if you had the financial ability to do so, put that, which I know we don't right now, but that is a person that becomes the most knowledgeable in reaching out to other areas. You know, in what I've done over the years, there are a lot of things that come, they tell us they're sole source, and then we research and we find out that that's
Other
not
sources.
necessarily
Okay.
the case. That there are others out there, and having someone with the ability to do that research can provide a cost savings across the board.
okay.
The only thing I say, Mary, is that you're used to working with the city of Poughkeepsie, the town of Wappinger, big people. We are with the village of Wappinger, 1 mile square.
Yes, but
I don't think it's out of the question that we can.
No, it's not out of the question, but I'm just wanting her to let her know.
But I'm not, remember, I'm not.
Policy, we have to follow.
If I may, I can address it. All right, this board recently revised and passed a new procurement policy. That procurement policy, pursuant to the resolution, was to be distributed to all the department heads. So the department heads should be knowledgeable about it. Department heads, they have budgets to operate in, and they have to comply with the procurement policy. Now, when there are purchases being made that, there should be, and there is, when the vouchers are submitted for payment on those. So if there's purchases being made within a budgetary item, a budget line, they would go, a voucher submitted, that voucher would get reviewed through the treasurer's department. There is a policy up there and a procedure for that. The specifics of it, I'm not that's not my department. Purchases generally generally go through council. So the attorney would receive and make sure that you've complied with your procurement policy. I always recommend resolutions for them, so you draft the resolutions. There's a recommendation I'll make to this board right now in an effort to help comply with its own procurement policy, is that we start indicating budget lines within the resolutions as to where the monies are coming from, so we don't have the issue we had today. That works very effectively as far as knowing, do you have the money to buy it? Have you complied with the procurement policy? And it actually helps the board make a decision with regards to whether or not it wants to approve this, because at that point, then all the information's in front of them, because they would have a resolution, which there was a resolution for this purchase. It does explain why it's a sole source purchase, which is an exception under the general municipal law to the procurement policy. I was told that it was within the budget, or there was a budget line for it. There was something lost in translation there, so that can be corrected. But as far as the policy is concerned, this is why you have a resolution, because it confirms that you followed your procurement policy. It confirms that you have money in the budget. It confirms that all of these, all of these laws have been complied with. And then for those items that are within a budget for a department, they submit their vouchers. The vouchers go to the treasurer's office, and there is a chain of command or a process up there by which they can look at these vouchers and say, hey, you didn't submit all the necessary information, we can't approve that voucher. Now, I lost my train of thought, sorry.
So are you saying you're involved in most purchases over a certain dollar amount, where you're involved to verify the information?
Generally,
I'm just curious, and no offense, Ian, but at your hourly rate, I've got to figure there's got to be somebody less expensive that could process some of this.
Yeah, but most of the cure policy, we all know it, and we all, each committee, we live by it. And then we have, that committee will take it to the board, then we decide on it. So we're not just running rampant here, Mayor.
Oh,
I know.
I'm not suggesting that you are, but we had an example, and I don't want to prolong this discussion because I'm sure there are other people that have things to say and you've got other things to do, but we had, right off the bat, we had an example of talking about a boat with a budget of $5,000, and it exceeded the budget amount because of a 25% tariff. Now, just straight math tells me if you're talking about over $3,000 more than you have, that's more than a 25% tariff. So it's possible that even
Well,
the initial,
it was shipping and handling.
they were shipping it, right,
They
so.
increased the base amount of the item to
So it was
offset.
significantly over, but there was no plan presented with that, or no specific direction, whether it be from the committee, the department head, or whoever, to identify where the difference was going to be coming from, or whether there was another, whether there was another budget line item that's going to pay for it. It was then tabled to go back to determine whether or not, or where the funds were going to come from. I'm just saying, shortcut the process.
The only issue with that was there was a miscommunication about the budget line. So my understanding is that there was a budget line for it that was sufficient, and it turns out it was not. So it was my recommendation to the board to make sure that we understand where the monies are coming from.
So when you say you were told it was sufficient, did they present you the documentation that demonstrated that it was there?
I asked the question, but there was a clear miscommunication on the question, which I've indicated. But in all fairness, the fire chief did what he was supposed to do in the incident. There's a miscommunication. If he were here, we probably could have corrected it
But that's why
tonight.
I raised the question of who was assigned as a procurement officer or someone to kind of go for the.
Your own procurement policy, the one I drafted for the municipality, has built in it a procedure by which you need to verify purchases as well, and the information and documentation should be provided.
Jennifer?
I think it's just a matter of before you come to the meeting, that you identify the money that you're over, discuss it amongst yourselves, find it, then you have to actually have it moved from one line to another. That's also a vote. So it involves the vote of moving the money from one line to another. You have to identify where you're going to take it from, what you're going to do without, where you're going to take it from, and then that's another vote, that you have to move the money from one line to another.
Well, it should be,
That's what we're gonna be doing, so we tabled it until the next month's meeting.
It's also from the fire budget.
Yeah.
to say it should discuss with the.
Yes, they have to
Hang on
internally
a
figure
second,
that out and tell us where it's coming from.
Pretty soon, right?
Yeah, it's a busy night. Chris?
I mean, am I crazy to think, can we only purchase a brand new boat, or is there one that's 2 or 3 years old that's within our budget? Because
They
ultimately,
don't have anything like that boat. We have a
but why do
boat.
we need that specific boat?
We have a boat, and it's a rubber boat, and it lasted 20 years. And it was,
How much did that cost?
Well, back 20 years ago, that was probably
Yeah, well-
$2,500, you know?
Yeah.
So now you're looking at a different story. But the point is, we just can't go buy aluminum boat because now you're talking, you have firefighters in there, it's gotta be a certain,
I know, but it doesn't have to be brand new either, because the second we buy it, it becomes a used boat.
I understand, but there's no used boats out there. And if you do buy a used boat, you're taking jeopardy because.
Why, we're using a used motor,
So,
right? And that's the most important part, because if the motor doesn't work, you're
No,
never
as long
gonna get the
as-
savings.
as long as
That motor's about 5, 6 years old.
I know, but it's used. So why can't we buy a 5 or 6 year old boat to go with the 5 or 6 year old motor?
I would
Because
like
the
you to
issue
get
with the-
online and find us one if you would.
Well, I mean, apparently it's a very specific boat we can only have.
Yes.
the
It
idea
doesn't-
behind the purchase is that this boat is a puncture-proof boat that is also rescue rated. So there's very, very specific requirements for this boat. It's very difficult to find. Our current boat that we spent money on, my understanding, now has punctures in it. So in an effort to not duplicate costs buying boats or used boats or things that puncture, the fire chief found this boat, which I think was actually an actual reasonable price for the boat. But
The bottom line is, if it has fire or police on it, the price goes up.
But the
That's the
thing
bottom
is, it's designed that if somebody hangs onto the side, it's not gonna flip the boat, they won't take people out. It's fitted for the fire department.
I understand, but we're still talking about a used motor to go with the boat, so.
If it
I was
saves
told
one
it was
life,
just
I'm willing to
rebuilt last
spend
year.
$8,000.
Sure, if we have the money. Do we have a boat
We
now?
got volunteer firemen, so, I mean, we don't pay.
Do you own a house in the village? Yes, right?
If it saves one
If
life,
we can
to
go
me,
paid
it's worth it.
firemen, then it'll be 7,000 a year of taxes just for paid firemen.
Well, I mean, we're just
This is
talking
what-
about budgets and
I
money.
know, well,
I
this is
mean,
why we're trying to be easy on the guys. You know, they're doing this volunteer.
Sure, but if we don't have the money, we don't have the money, that's all I'm saying.
That's why I sent it back to the committee.
Sure.
You do your due diligence, you look and see, if you need any help, you come to the finance.
The money's there, they're just gonna have to do something else.
Well, then that's fine, if the money's there, but the topic was that the money wasn't there. And that we were
It wasn't budgeted for. There's a special line item for the Marine,
Yeah.
and that line item was 5,000. And now we're going over, so that 5,000 is no longer sufficient. We're gonna have to move money within the fire budget from one designated line up to the Marine so that we can pay for it. That's what we're,
If that's what they wanna do, then I
Right.
don't see why it's a discussion at all then.
well, we have to find out
Where
what
they're gonna-
line
but
item.
they didn't provide the information, so we had to get the information from them to see what budget lines they want to
It's
spend.
gotta
Right.
go back to the committee, they have to
Yeah.
present it to us.
Cal?
A lot of things you talked about tonight, it was all put in place when I was mayor. Not bragging, but it was. Rats you talked about, Franklinville Avenue, Irontown, that rat's this big, okay? And we had a dump up there, which was a dump, and he brought in fill and covered it up and covered it up. But he wanted, one time,
Staging area.
put a dump down along Franklinville Avenue and along Lower Henry Street. It's right back where I live, you know? So I heard about it, and I says, what time put a dump there in the road?
Sent you around.
In our backyard. So anyway, I went to a village board meeting. We had it at the Whiskey Garden Firehouse.
Cal, is this for the board?
Personal conversation,
Cal,
or you
is this
just,
for the board, or
are you,
is this for the board?
He likes me.
Yeah, I'm done.
okay, but
So what happened, I says,
Yeah, but is
we
this-
don't need a dump in the village well. We don't need it, let's get rid of it. And we did. We brought in Royal Carting and give us a price.
All right.
Doing this, doing this. Wait, let me finish.
do you want to address the board?
But you want to address the board. You want to address the board with this.
Well, she's supposed to be here.
I can hear
Rats, all right? So anyway, we got rid of it, we got rid of it. Well, you know why I have rats today? Because you got these nice garbage cans to put in, and people put so much stuff in them that they can't close the lids.
All right.
And you get magnets in here, that's for rats.
We're going executive.
Steve.
If I may say, if you wanted to do something about the overweight trucks on East Main Street, I believe that the first thing the board would have to do is put up signage. So I think it handicaps the police officers, they can't enforce a law if there's not a sign notifying the public that they're doing something wrong.
It's already a village law, so we just order signs, correct?
Correct.
That's up to the board, but I think if you wanted enforcement, that would be the first step, is put up weight limit
Okay.
signs on East Main Street.
All right, and we'd have to see where those signs would go along East Main
That's up
Street.
to you
but
guys.
Yeah, that's,
Then you gotta hire DOT. Then
That's
you
up-
gotta talk to them to come down.
You don't have to hire DOT. If you make it a law, the registration will tell you the weight of the truck. Am I correct, Detective Weaver?
Get the signs made up.
I'm for it.
Kathy had her hand up.
I'm talking to the audience now, right? You see these board of trustees right here?
Yeah.
All right. They took election, they got elected to their ward, first, second, and third ward. Now, you have a problem in the first ward, second, third, you call your representative, which would be Bobby Marshall, in the second ward, in Rose
She
here.
lives in the
In
third
the
ward.
first ward, you call McCormick.
Third
They're the
ward.
ones who should take the information that you want and bring it in here to talk about.
I did.
And the way I had it, John will
Cal,
tell you.
I
Wait,
did.
let me finish.
Cal,
Let me finish, man. Let me finish, will you?
I did.
John can tell you.
Called me, I brought it in.
All right. And what happened?
Get a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Wait.
That don't happen. That's not a written, because, you know, it's all the government.
I'll look into it.
Okay, we made an, what, no.
I know I know that everyone.
Basically, what it comes down to is we have to ask them, what do they want to do with it?
Right.
Basically,
Congratulations on your
so if it's not on, right, it's not on state bid, it has, you gotta bring.
I'll be here for procurement.
Oh, see that? I'm still working actually.
Are you?
What we're doing is gift cards.